Ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of marketing tools trying to keep your business running smoothly? What if you could simplify it all with one platform? That's where Go High Level comes in, your all-in-one sales and marketing solution built for small businesses like you. In fact, Go High Level has over 1 million users just like you. With Go High Level, you can capture leads, automate your prospect and client journeys, quickly and efficiently build stunning websites, sales pages, and sales funnels. Imagine managing your CRM, email, SMS, and funnels without duct taping a dozen tools together. Plus, their unlimited plan lets you add as many contacts and users as you need, no hidden fees. We've been using Go High Level for over a year now and absolutely love it. In fact, Profit First Nation is also powered by Go High Level. Ready to level up? Start your Profit First Nation extended 30-day free trial today at www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. That's www.gohighlevel.com/Profit First Nation. Streamline your workflow, impress your clients, and grow smarter, not harder.
Welcome to Profit First Nation, the official podcast for entrepreneurs who are operating their businesses in the zone of permanent profitability. I'm Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, and now here's your Profit First Nation guide, Danielle Mulvey.
Welcome back to another edition of Profit First Nation. Today, I'm going to kind of reveal maybe some secrets to my madness or secrets to my success. We're going to call this episode Danielle's Modus Operandi. And I'm going to give you the 6 kind of like mottos or the things that I'm always saying to my employees that if you ask them, does Danielle say this all the time, or is this Danielle's modus operandi? They would be like, yes. So let's dive into it. And the first one is, I've been saying this for over 20 years, is all of us are smarter than one of us. So, that is really the idea that, again, collaboration is best. And the other thing is it reminds us that we need to surround ourselves with smart people, right? And so, if you don't think that your team collaborates and that collectively you guys are smarter than one of you, the business owner, then you've got the wrong team. And the same thing with, who you're surrounding yourself with outside of work or in networking groups or in masterminds and such. So, it's really, again, that concept of all of us are smarter than one of us. You need to be surrounding yourself with people who feed your intellect, who help you troubleshoot things, who help you stay proactive and look at things from different perspectives so that whatever you're thinking, you're able to make it better by collaborating and working with other people. So all of us are smarter than one of us. And I often say this to our team and remind them, when we're having really great sessions on collaboration or brainstorming, or, someone has found an error or a mistake or a better way to do things, then maybe it's we've been doing it for so long. I'm always saying, yes, all of us are smarter than one of us. And that, again, just kind of reminds people their value in being a continual contributor to your business success, the team success, maybe the client success and such. So that is the modus operandi. Number 1 is that all of us are smarter than one of us. And the challenge to you is to make sure that you are surrounded by employees who are great people to collaborate with and who make you smarter by being your employees. The second one is probably the one that I'm most famous for. And so my second modus operandi is why don't airplanes fall out of the sky? It's a question, and when I say this, I usually get an eye roll from my employees, because why don't airplanes fall out of the sky? Because pilots have to follow a checklist. So no matter, if a commercial airline pilot has 2,000 hours or 5,000 hours of flying time, they have to follow a checklist for their pre-flight routine. Then there's a whole checklist when, the plane is taking off and getting to its cruising altitude. And then when they go down, and prepare for landing, again, they're following a checklist. And that is why airplanes don't fall out of the sky. That is why airplanes operate as the most safest form of transportation, because there is such consistency in the operations, because they're following the checklist. And when they follow the checklist, boom, 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 it operates perfectly, seamlessly, safely. And so that is kind of then getting to the point of like, well, what kind of things are you doing in your business? You should be operating with checklists, just like pilots do. If you want efficiency, if you want consistency, if you don't want any mistakes, the checklist really helps you do that. And, I have to say that there have been some times where, if I'm filling in for someone or doing something, and it's been a while since I've done it, and if I don't follow the checklist, guess what? This one makes an error. And so, even I, who maybe have been, having a process or system in our business for 10 plus years, but I don't do it all the time, and I might need to do it to fill in for someone on vacation or something like that. Again, I have to go back to the checklist. But even if I was doing that job every week, I would be doing it using the checklist, because again, I don't want the airplane to fall out of the sky. I don't want it to land on me. In our business, we have the process and checklist. Sometimes it's literally a manual piece of paper. So, we have kind of like a checklist for when we're processing and posting payments and such, and kind of, getting the information from our ERP that outlines, okay, well, what was our cost of goods on this? What was the materials cost? What's the sales tax? What is the commission owed to the salesperson for this, et cetera? And, we're getting all that information out of the ERP, because then that impacts our allocations or our sweeps and transfers from that deposit account into the sales tax account, for example, or into the cost of goods account. So, you just, the more that you have documented, and the more that you're following it. So it's so important that these checklists don't live in a binder somewhere. They don't live in a file that no one ever uses. It's a useless checklist if it's not just easy to access, and it's not something that's used all the time. I love airmanual.co as a great, easy, efficient tool, because that kind of gives you a 2-in-1. What you're able to do is, yes, and this is a plug, I guess, for AirManual. They are not an official sponsor, but I don't care. I'm sure if I asked them to be a sponsor, they would be. But the system allows you very easily, very simply, very cleanly to, build those standard operating procedures, which you need of documenting things that go on and how they go on in your business. But then you can also kind of turn it into a checklist. So when you're using it in checklist mode, you're keeping that base, but you're able to like create it, just kind of create a copy, and then be able to check off as you're completing the items and such that need to get done. So, why don't airplanes fall out of the sky? Because the pilots are following a checklist. And, fun fact about me, and I usually use this on 2 truths and a lie, is, when you give those 2 truths and a lie, I share that I was a flight attendant for American Airlines. And everyone always thinks that's the lie, but it's the truth. So when I graduated college, I had a 5th-year senior boyfriend. So I was just kind of like waiting around to see what was going to happen and such, and wasn't ready to take a, professional job yet and such. So I did apply and get hired by American Airlines. And I did it for a year. And it was really quite fascinating to kind of like go behind the scenes and such, and to see how a large corporation like that is run and just all the different facets to it. But what was, again, the most fascinating to me was like the secret to the safety of commercial air flying is that the pilots always have to follow a checklist. Again, no matter how many hours of experience they have in the air, they're always following a checklist. So if they're doing it, then we should be doing it too. And we do it in our organizations. And I challenge you to do that in your organizations as well. Modus operandi number 3 is 1 teaspoon at a time. Now, let's see. This one is more of a challenge to me than something that I have mastered. I tend to, and if you've listened to the podcast, I give you 7, just like today, I'm giving you 7 of my modus operandi. I'm not giving you 3. Most people would give you 1 or 2 or 3, but, I tend to overload. I do tend to overwhelm a little bit. And so reminding the 1 teaspoon at a time is really a reminder for me. And again, I'm not a master of it. I am, just needing to do it. But when I feed things slowly, when I feed things 1 teaspoon at a time, it gets consumed and digested much better than when I just overwhelm with information. So, what can you really kind of focus on? What is that 1 teaspoon at a time? What can you be feeding people? I also like to think of Mary Poppins, and a teaspoonful of sugar. I won't sing it for you. Helps the medicine go down. So, again, like I think of that, like how can I feed one teaspoon of sugar when I'm trying to make a point, when I'm trying to feed someone some information? How can I make it sweet? How can I make it memorable? How can I make it easier to digest and take in? And so 1 teaspoon at a time, with a nod to Mary Poppins, is my modus operandi number 3. All right. Oh my gosh. We are kind of at the midpoint, going into modus operandi number 4. And that is 50 times. Who says it the most wins? And I am saying that the bar is set at 50 times. I'm no joke. And what's funny about this is, and I think we all kind of have the same mindset, and I had this mindset, but that mindset I've kicked out the window. We don't want to be that annoying person. And we say annoying. We don't want to be that person that's just sending kind of like the same emails on the same rotation all the time. That's really of being no service. And I was on a call in a little mastermind that I'm part of, and people were kind of lamenting about the fact that, gosh, it just seems harder to get anyone's attention. It's harder to get people to opt in or reply, et cetera, and such. And but we don't want to be annoying. Like, we don't want to send more. And I think that someone said, well, look who's killing it in the marketplace. And they said Grant Cardone. And I'm like, yeah, he is kind of killing it. He's everywhere. And he is sending the most. He is sending the most messages, the most emails. I don't know, but I see it all the time, and I'm getting the emails, et cetera. And so he's kind of the one that comes top of mind because I'm seeing him the most. And so I am like, I think it's 50x. I think if you're going to do a nurture campaign or a drip campaign or whatever, like it needs to be touching the person 50 times. And here's why. Because we are getting bombarded with all different sorts of information. And it's just coming at us from multiple channels and such. And so it just becomes like, so much. But when we hear something 50 times, well, now that one stands out as the most memorable. And I like to say too, that it kind of works to your advantage as well, because when someone is reminding you of the pain point that you're having, and they're reminding you 50 times, and let's be honest, we don't see all of our emails. We're quickly scanning and stuff. So, even though Grant Cardone might be sending 50 emails, you're not seeing all 50 necessarily. When you go through, sometimes you're just quickly, just getting rid of stuff as quickly as you can without examining each email. But that 50 is kind of a magic number, because there's going to be enough repetition and enough of the subject line that's just kind of reminding you, and maybe, just kind of continuing to pour some salt into that wound of your biggest pain point and the problem that you solve for your client's biggest pain point. And it's sort of, I like to say too, the recipient is kind of saying, well, gosh, I keep getting all of these messages about this, and yeah, that is a problem. And 3 weeks later, you're still getting these messages, and yeah, it's still a problem. And maybe it's kind of getting bigger because now I'm more aware of it. And so you're kind of thinking, gosh, is the universe trying to tell me something? Are they trying to be warning me? I'm getting all these messages about addressing this particular problem in my business. And so that then I think becomes part of the impetus to prioritizing fixing that problem, if that makes sense. So my challenge to you is create a campaign that has 50 touches, and just inundate, because I know, here's the thing, you are not being annoying. You are not a salesy kind of person. You genuinely want to help your clients solve their problems. And so in order for you to win with all the noise out there, to be the one that your client, that your client or your future client picks to help them solve their problem, you have to be the one that's top of mind. You have to be the one that has sent the most messages. You've been the one that has, poured the most salt in the wound, maybe, to share with them, how and why you are the best person, no matter what you're charging, to help them solve their problem. Okay. And I swear to God, it will take 50x. It will take you sending that message 50 times, because whoever says it the most wins. And, again, I just think that's what's happening out there in the marketplace. Okay. So it's not 6 times, it's not 9 times, it's not 15, it's not 20, it's frickin' 50 times, people. 50 times, okay? And that will get you your highest response rate, I promise. All right, modus operandi number 5 is care and feed your employees like they are your children. Before I had children, before I had James and Emerson Mulvey, I had employees, for almost 7 years before I had children. And, I loved my employees when I didn't have children as much as I love my children now, and I love my employees now. So, when you want to see them succeed, just like you want your own children to succeed, just like you provide the encouragement, the safety for your own children, your employees want, need, and crave that same level of comfort, that same level of safety, that, just like you're your children's biggest cheerleader, you should be your employees' biggest cheerleaders in your organization, because that's when the magic happens. And, this kind of gets into All In, the book that Mike has written and I collaborated with, that comes out in January 2024. But the FASO system, which is fit, ability, safety, and ownership, that safety part is I think if you just channel caring and feeding your employees like they're your children, then that's where they will feel safe. That's where they will thrive. That's where they will be able to come into work and have, the best ability to just get the job done. And regardless of what's happening outside of in their personal life, outside of work, the job and the work should provide to be their happy space. I mean, honestly, for some people outside of sleep, the most time they spend doing something is working. And so, how can you make that the happy space? How can you make that their home away from home, their second home, the place where they feel safe, the place where they feel appreciated, the place where their colleagues and their employer, you, the business owner, are their biggest cheerleader, just like you do for your own children. So modus operandi number 5 is care and feed your employees like they are your children. And modus operandi number 6, oh my gosh, this is just going by so fast and so much fun. But number 6 is freedom and flexibility for all. So this is kind of interesting. We have the 40-hour work week, whatever. But as business owners, we know that we're going to work 7 days a week. If we have to work 7 days a week, we are going to work nights, weekends, early mornings, whatever it takes. And so to us, we might feel a little more entitled that, hey, my son's playing a game at 4:00. So I need to leave work and kind of end my day and wrap it up by 2:30. And so, that would kind of be outside of a normal business day and such. But I mean, hey, does my team know that I've been up since 4 a.m. working and sending emails? Maybe, maybe not. My team actually knows. But anyways, but what you have to do is, if you want freedom and you want flexibility in your organization, which, let's be honest, this is why probably a big motivator why you started your own business, was to have this sense of freedom and have this sense of flexibility. You should be able to you extend that to your employees as well. And so, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if you want flexibility and you're exercising some flexibility and some freedom in your organization, then how can that be good for you and also good for your employees? How can you incorporate that into your organization? So, for example, in one of our businesses, we let people kind of like create their own schedule, but there are parameters in which it needs to get done. And, but they have a sense of freedom. It's okay. They say, we say, for example, in our claims exam, organization that you need to start by 9 p.m. Eastern and you need to finish your day by 7 p.m. Eastern. So regardless of what time zone you work in, we kind of use Eastern time zone, since that's where the majority of the team is. And, but you can say, hey, I'm going to start at 6 a.m. Eastern, and I'm going to finish my day. I'm going to take a half-hour lunch, and I'm going to finish my day by 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So, you've just, hopefully I got the math right there. But giving that flexibility, there's still consistency. Like, you can't just randomly start at 6:30 one day and 8 o'clock the next day and 9 o'clock the third day. We want some consistency, but we want to be flexible and we want to do what works for you, and sometimes that changes based off of the season. Sometimes, our employees who have children, end up making like a little break early in the morning. So they start their day early before the kids get up. Then they take a little bit of a break to get the kids up, get the kids out the door, get them to school, et cetera. And then they come back. And it doesn't have a negative impact on things, but it works with them and it reduces their stress. And then the benefit is that, because they got that head start before their kids were up, then, their day is ended work-wise when their kids are out of school, and now they can be all in with their kids and the activities after school. So, if you want the freedom and flexibility in your business, then how can you extend that to your employees as well and still get the job done, still get the work in, still get the hours, etc.? Because just remember, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. All right. And then the last one, number 7, is a reiteration of a recent episode, and that is seize the day and your daily huddle. So, while you give freedom, while you give flexibility, and because you don't want to be a micromanager, yes, that's all good, but you still have to have a daily dose of accountability. And when you seize the day and have your vitamin C meeting or the daily huddle, that's your opportunity in less than 10 minutes to just make sure that the ship is still on course and everyone is at their stations. They are doing their job. They're hitting on their 3 to 5 key responsibilities. They're meeting their success metrics. And, there's no one that is just under the radar. There's no one that's hiding. And so again, it's just keeping things going. And I'm going to be honest, it kills me when something takes me away from attending my daily huddle or my vitamin C meeting. We call them different things in different organizations in my world. But it just the days are better. The team is better when I am present for the daily huddle and vitamin C. So while this is Modus Operandi number 7, I saved it because this is the best for last. This is the most important thing that happens in my business to make sure that the wheels keep turning and we're still making progress. We're producing results every day. And then it's also that opportunity to appreciate the team members and give public recognition. Today I showed something that Ro and our team had made, and it's a video intro and outro. And it was fantastic. And so I'd already seen it. I'd already approved it, but I shared it with the team and gave him public recognition of oh, isn't this amazing? Isn't this awesome? And so again, it becomes habit. It becomes routine. It's on a rhythm and it happens every day. And do your darndest to be there every day. But just make sure it happens every day, even if you can't be there, and come back the next day if you can't be there, and the next day after that, and this, that, the other. But that really is the true secret, I'd say, to my success and technically the most important modus operandi that I follow. So, thank you for joining us for another episode of Profit First Nation. Remember, if you would like to connect with a certified Profit First professional accountant, bookkeeper, or coach, you can go to profitfirstnation.com and click on contact. And also, if you have a question for the podcast, we answer questions on episodes ending in 0. We tackle questions on episodes ending in 5 when Billy Ann Grigg, the Chief Profit First Professional Guide, joins us. And we also address questions on episodes ending in 8 when we have Mike join us for the podcast. So please feel free to send us your questions. We also try to answer those faster than the episodes come out. So that's also too where you can submit questions. Thanks so much again for joining us, and cheers to another profitable day, my entrepreneurial friend.
Thanks for tuning in to the Profit First Nation podcast. We hope you found today's episode valuable and that it's inspired you to take action towards achieving permanent profitability in your business. If you want to learn more about how to implement Profit First in your business and connect with a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, be sure to visit us at profitfirstnation.com to download our how-to guides and resources. Remember, permanent profitability is within your reach, and we're here to support you every step of the way. So let's do profit first, right together.
Profit First Nation website, related podcasts, and videos are provided for general information purposes only and do not constitute accounting, legal, tax, or other professional advice. Visitors should not act upon the content or information found here without first seeking appropriate advice from an accountant, financial planner, lawyer, or other professional.
Hey, this is Ro. And if you're a business owner struggling with hiring or just tired of doing it yourself, I highly recommend the Build Your Dream Team Secret Podcast series. There are 7 episodes packed with real stories from founders who've cracked the code on hiring, built high-performing teams, and finally got out of the day-to-day grind. My favorite part? It's not fluff. It's systems, strategy, and results. Text DREAM to 55444. That's DREAM to 55444 to check it out. You'll thank me later.